hot. I met a boy today.
That's me.
So fine.
If you know, tap in, share the post. It's your boy PH, aka the Prez, aka Mr. Above 140.
Come to my town and get with me. She love I'm around.
It's not about the amount of talent you have. It's 100% about the work ethic. Ask your coach or anybody that's been doing this.
Hot. I met a boy today. So fine.
Why is it? And they gonna say, oh, it's illegal. Cut this. Cut it out. All you coaches out there, cut it out. Because that's BS.
All right. It's your boy PH, the Prez, Mr. Above 140. I'm here with the co-host.
It's your boy, Coach Correa, the General.
And y'all know what we doing. I'm sorry. This is not nice. Okay. Let me get my act together. So, another fun-filled night of the podcast. Nate, what up, Nate? So, just got from practice starving. Listen, Tito.
What up, my boy?
We got a couple things going on tonight, people. Let's talk to the people. All right.
You did all your shares? Hold on. Did you do your shares yet?
We got some topics. We got some live guests. We're going to be talking about some good stuff tonight. We're going to talk about some stuff that's controversial. It's okay. Y'all know how we are. We open books, so we'll talk about the controversial stuff. So, Tito, first thing I want to bring up. Rory, what up? First thing I want to bring up. Jamar, what's good, brother? How y'all doing out there in Meriden? All right, Tito.
What up?
Who's a topic, everybody? I want y'all to chime in on this. This is a topic that I personally feel is happening. My own personal opinion, you don't have to agree with me. The beauty about America is we all don't have to agree. Jordan, what up? Good luck this weekend. The first topic, Tito, is the coach's commitment. No, this is a question to the community. Has the coaching commitment started to decline as the stacking of teams have become more desirable? I can go first, but I'll let you talk about it. I'll opine.
I believe coaching commitment in general has been lessened because you know how hard it is for us to find coaches to begin with. I think the commitment, people often associate volunteers meaning you can show up when you want, and that's not how football works. When you decide to commit to a football team, you commit to a football team. And I think, yes, when you got better teams, I think it makes it easier. What up, Jordan? It makes it easier for coaches to kind of show up when they want. And when it comes to these games here, now where we're at in this part of the year, all of that matters. All of that comes into play. Commitment, efficiency, being there, vibing with your team, all of that comes into play now. So I think it's a big mistake when they take the other approach, in my opinion.
So I'm going to tell you where I'm at with this. So what I see is when you have a stacked team, Tito, and you just know that your team is stacked, you're less inclined to drive 2 hours to go record the other person. This is what I'm starting to see. I used to be places and see mad coaches from around New England recording, getting games because you had to put that grind in. Now that you got a stacked team, you don't even scout your opponent because you just know you're going to beat them. Because your opponent got this little community team, and my team stacked from all these players from around 860, 203, out of state, whatever. And so I'm not scouting Tito. I don't have to. I just know Tito can't beat me based on what I got over here. And what that cultivate is an attitude that I'm no longer going to do that grit and ground work. Here's the problem, though. Too often the stacked team is successful and you can't tell them nothing. I used to tell you this all the time. When a team is stacked, as long as they're winning, you can't tell them they have ailments. You can't tell them they're not following the coach's protocol because they're winning and you're not. If you can follow the coach's protocol and be less successful as a stacked team. That's the worst part about trying to talk to people and tell these people that stacked teams aren't good. Thank you very much.
Well, stacked team, also, when you got the Jimmys and Joes, when you have them, it cures all your ailments. It hides all your ailments, until you bump into a team or you bump into a situation where the talent may not be as great, but the cohesiveness from the coaching staff and the way the kids play together, will a lesser talented team can absolutely be the stacked team if the stacked team ain't putting in the work necessary to continue to be a dominant team, period. I have seen people take the foot off the gas and they pay for it down the stretch.
True. Now, Matt, I think you mean to say this, and I'm not speaking for you. Just follow me. I think what you're saying, Matt, is stack or not, you should still put in the work. Because you don't have to. There's a lot of stacked teams in New England that ain't putting in the work. You don't see them outside like that. They just got the better team. What are you going to do? Come on, Tito. You used to have this saying to me. Back in the day, you used to say, it's nothing about it. Ain't about, it's about the Jimmy and Joes or something like that.
It ain't about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmys and Joes.
That's you football today.
Yeah, sometimes.
Everybody run out to get Jimmy and Joes because Jimmy and Joes will make you look better. It will keep you off the internet getting plastered. It keeps people from disrespecting you over loudspeakers and microphones. Like, stack your team to cover yourself from coaching and embarrassment. Just my opinion. You guys doing great.
They could never destroy this podcast. Nobody could ever destroy this podcast. We know there's a lot of cyber warriors out there that ain't never doing nothing in real life. We're well aware of that. And I've even learned over the years that it's just the internet. I don't even look at the comments. So y'all can roast me all you want.
I'm everywhere with my iPad. Yes, you are. And Rodney, you will not coach against the Harvard Hurricanes with an iPad on the sideline. I was on you. You passed it off to the young kids, so you did yourself a favor. But I was on you with the ref. Oh yeah, I was on Rodney Myers. Rule book and all. I'm sorry, I'm eating because I'm gonna have to be quiet when Trev come on. Trev is on soon, y'all. We got a presentation happening today. President Trev from the Bloomfield Junior Warhawks. He has cracked the code, he says. He has figured it out. He now knows how to get us all to come together. And we're going to give him a shot. Open ears. We're not going to be the old disgruntled guys that y'all think we are.
We ain't even that old. Well,
So,
you might be, but I'm not.
I embrace my age, brother. I'm okay with it. Peace, fellas. Who got a real shot at AYF D1?
There's no D1. There's no D1 AYF in New England.
The whole New England is D2.
D2 and AYF.
Bree, I'm getting mine in 3 years. I'm embracing it. Listen, a lot of y'all young people may not live to see my age. I'm gonna stop. Oh, has what up, Gil? You might be the same age.
Yeah. You one of them too.
Yo, you come from practice. Come on, you know how it is, Gil. You come from practice. You hungry? I gotta jump on this. What y'all talking about? Niece, we're not talking about 12U yet. We do D1 if there was one. Matt, I think y'all could create a league.
What up, Kennedy?
What up, man? If more teams did travel football, would it help? I see a lot of other teams in the West and the South doing
We're
travel.
not built with that. That's not our reality in New England. That ain't our reality in New England, dog.
The coach up here, not it.
What up, Jason? What's good, baby?
Destiani, I want to shout out the Hurricane 6U team playing the championship this weekend. Trinity College, Tito, which we need to talk about. At 9 a.m., they'll have the band. They may come out in mask. Destiani's out of control. I have no control over my 6U team. Phil got the perfect hat on. Hungry. Listen. Exactly. See, I need somebody to understand me. Biden needs. All right, so listen. Yeah, Tito, I think that let me just say this.
Y'all see that, right?
If everybody only could get kids, Tito, here's my point. From the town they live in, let's say absolutely no waivers outside your town. AYF Pop Warner, you play with the kids in your city, and if you ain't got a team, you ain't got a team.
I think that will fix things, believe it or not.
I know, but listen to this. If we did that, I have a belief, Tito, no lie, that you would see a lot more coaches putting a lot more coaching work because they wouldn't get that one good running back from over there. They wouldn't get that one good wide receiver or quarterback from over there. They'd have to coach up what they got. When you force to coach up what you have, you are forced to put in more work. That is where I'm going at. It's not a right or wrong thing. I have no problem with stacked teams. If you operating within the rules, get the best team you can get. Just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? If you're operating within the rules, just my opinion. Jose seemed to agree with you. He think everybody should go home. Amari, what's up, brother? Tell Amari to tell me how many touchdowns he's scoring this weekend. If he get it, if Amari say it and he get it, the New England Football Podcast will have a piece of.
I was going to save the waiver thing for Trev's presentation. I don't want to get ahead of Trev's presentation, but I believe,
by the way,
right. I believe, in my opinion, if people were forced to play where they're from, some of this stuff will be balanced out. But like I said, I don't want to start getting into what we're going to get into with Trev. So let's just keep.
Well, we don't know what we're going to get into. Trev may go a different direction.
Right, he may, but I'm just saying that's obviously that question is going to come up then, is my point.
Yeah, all right. Tito. So IJ put up a post, Tito. I want to bring it up real quick, real briefly, y'all. He said that that youth football parents shouldn't have to pay for the championship games. But before we even get to championships, what's your thoughts on youth football players' parents having to pay for regular season?
I mean, usually,
I found out real quick before I found out that only Pop Warner charges during the regular season. I did not know AYF don't charge.
Well, yeah, I don't know. The regular season is a different story, but I know as long as I've been involved with football since 2002, involved in this space, the playoffs and championships, there's always been a gate fee. Regardless of the league I've been in, regardless of where I've been coaching, when it gets down into the playoff rounds, there has always been a gate fee. So I'm cool with that. I'm not cool with paying to see a regular season game. I'm sorry. None of your stadiums are worth $5 to get into when there's no accurate seating in a lot of them. There's barely even seating and none of that. But playoffs and championship, you guys got to understand the leagues. The leagues that put on for your organizations is a business as well. And they have to create some revenue for their own kitty. Now, with that being said, $10 is a reasonable number. The numbers I'm hearing is coming out of there.
I heard AYF
that's a whole different thing to be in a stadium that ain't up to snuff. I mean, it's an all right stadium, but it ain't like New Britain High Stadium at Veterans where if you're going to pay that money to get in, you may get a padded seat. This stadium ain't like that. Like, there's no way.
And you tell me if NYF is charging $22. Tell me, is NYF charging $22? Do anybody know?
No, Manning Field's a beautiful facility. I wouldn't mind paying $10 to get in there, Manning. At least you got accurate seating on both sides.
Perfect question, Destiani. as a league administrator, I'm gonna talk about that, but let me say some other stuff. One, I have absolutely no problem with people charging during the regular season. I think you are outdated if you're not charging during the regular season. I'm sorry. As a person that can't charge, because Hartford never charges, everybody knows that. As a person that can't charge, it costs the Hartford Hurricanes about $1,300 every time we have a home game. $1,300. Now, y'all may not have these expenses, but I'll tell you some of our expenses. Every day we practice, Tito, we have to pay $75 in Hartford. From the middle of September till, let's assume a team make it to Florida, to the first week in December, every day a Hurricanes team take the field, they're paying $75. How can you recoup your money? Concessions on the day does not recoup because you start off in debt. You got to go out and buy $500, $600, $700 worth of food. Even if you make $1,300 or $1,500, you take out your $700, you're at $800 net profit. However, now go ahead and factor in the $1,300 rest. We're losing $500 every time we have a home game. Add on the $75 for the lights for the night game.
Right, but you're talking from Hartford's perspective.
Right. And so I'm using Hartford to say that's why I believe towns should charge, because I see what happened when you can't charge. It almost become unbearable to charge. Now, what are the charges in Pop Warner? Pop Warner is not $5 during the year. It's $3. For playoffs, it's $5. For championship/playoff games, if there are championship games on that weekend, the fee's $10. That's how it is. So championship games are $10. Playoff only is $5. So we had the playoffs in Bloomfield High School last weekend, was a $5 charge. This weekend we have championship games and some playoff games mixed in. It's a $10 charge. So that's how it's done. I honestly, if I could charge $3 for every home game, everybody would get charged $3 because I'm bringing hundreds of parents to other locations and they're getting $3 from each of my parents. But when they come play me, they absolutely pay nothing. Not because it's not out of desire. It's because I can't.
Wait a second. Hold on. $22 for CTCYF, but New England Elite.
Yo, let me ask you something. All right, is the CTCYF playing? I think that's Connecticut AYF. Are they playing at the stadium again?
They're playing in Springfield Central.
They're charged. Oh, for high school, they're paying $22.
I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know why that guy put that up there. I don't know. Did they confuse me there?
The conference do have to pay EMTs and refs. That's correct. They do. We've cost the Hurricanes $900. Wait, Destiani.
I get this. Some people are completely novice to this, but the playoff championships have always been a charge, but $22 is astronomical.
Destiani, Weaver costs $900 because you have to pay the union, which has to put a janitor on that has to work overtime. Regular season, they didn't charge. Playoffs is $5 up there. AYF is $10, and Super Bowl regular season is $5. Where is that located? Is that Connecticut?
No, Woonsocket's Rhode Island.
I agree. City of Hartford should give us stuff for free. I saw some AYF regular season games were $5 and $10 as well. So maybe some people did charge. CT AYF doesn't charge until states and regionals. Blackstone Valley AYF does charge. If your scoreboard doesn't work and you don't have an announcer, you can't charge me more than $5. Nobody, I don't think anybody's above $5 during regular season. In the playoffs and championship games, at least in my league, there's a ref in the booth. The scoreboard is operating, and that's mandatory. That's Blackstone is in Rhode Island.
Yes.
or if you don't have bathrooms. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I think it's a little bougie for everybody to run around saying you need bathrooms in buildings. This is youth football. We're not municipalities. For y'all to require these things in order for an organization to operate for kids to put on for the youth in their community, I don't agree with. I don't agree with the young lady, and nor do I agree with Brian Jordan. I don't think that y'all can put these demands. I'm at Annie Fisher, and if I could charge, I would. And if you got to use the porta potty, use the porta potty. But absence of being able to charge could result in 250 kids going back to the hood. I don't think it's fair to put the amenities on the program. Some of us are in cities that are tough and just don't have the amenities to give us. I don't think that we should do that. Just my opinion. They, Springfield High is where the CTY is playing. New England Elite is playing that Manning Field. Manning Field is good. I want to regional championship.
I like Manning Field. I like
no, Kerry, it was a completely honest assessment. It's not you. A lot of people do feel like that if you don't have bathrooms, you shouldn't charge. Like I wasn't knocking you. How much do they charge for the chair? 25. I can tell you, Central chair was $25 at pre-sale, $30 at the door. There's some leagues in Connecticut that was $30 the whole time. Just a heads up. It's just a money grab. If you don't know the business side of youth football, you're probably thinking it's a money grab. Oh yeah, chair comps was $25 pre-sale, $30 at the door if you didn't buy. And so I just think that, Tito, that Jesus. I think we have to understand that a lot of people on the outside, you guys are not on the business side, especially a lot of coaches and parents. And it's important that y'all do understand the business side. That's why I love talking about this stuff, because I love to give the $5 is what I pay to watch my son play Lawrence, Lynn, Bethune, and some more places are free. I love to give the perspective of league, right? Because I think it's important that we understand that this is business and that you pay registration fees and all of that stuff, and this still do not cover everything that you think. We don't talk about, some people have to pay an EMT per game. Imagine if you got 7 teams, that EMT is doing 2 hours, 14-hour days. How much you think you can pay an EMT to work 14-hour days with a discount? I'm just saying, if I pay $22 and I don't know how much time on the clock, the quarter, come on, it's no knock. I'm just saying, I agree. I mean, look, it ain't a right or wrong thing. It's just perspective. Look, $22 is an astronomical price. Why 22 and not 20? Out of curiosity, is there a reason that it's 22 and not? I mean, it's easier to walk up and give a dub. Why the $2? Like, what is that going to do? Florida is a money grab, man. Maybe, depending on the tournament, your experience. It's becoming less appealing. Trev, I would say that. I'm a board member for an organization, so I see it all so much go into what the uninformed truly understand. True.
Yo, before we get Trev on, though, get LJ on to find out where we at with this Waterbury thing, since he volunteered himself.
LJ, are you out there? Is he out there?
Get LJ on. Send him the link. You need his email? I'll forward it to you. He should be on.
I can send it to him. LJ, you out there listening? I was gonna bring him on afterwards, but if you want to do it before we can.
All right, no, then let Trev rock. I just know that with this, when Trev, I already know this thing with Trev is gonna end. Is gonna take the podcast to the end.
No, it's not. And with that being said, we want to welcome the president himself, the one, the only, the thriller in Manila, Mr. MLK himself. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones that make a brighter day. So let's start living. Trev, welcome to the show, brother.
Yo, y'all hear me,
out. We can hear you. I'm going to shut up. I want to welcome you. Now, before, Trev, I got one question for the fans. You're an honest person. I know we honest. I'm going to ask so the fans. Have you and I talked, you and Tito talked about the presentation? Have we saw it? Have we had any communication?
No.
All right. I turn it over to you.
All right. Well, first of all, thank y'all for having me on the platform. It's long overdue anyway because we keep talking about this idea going around back and forth. It's a hot topic, and it's something I can't for the life of me figure out why we just can't agree on a happy landing space because we always talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was last year. It was either last year or the year before last when you guys organized.
2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago in January. So
Yeah. So, I was still a rookie on the block. I still kind of am a rookie on the block, but I went to the meeting expecting something different. But the overall conversation I thought was dope. I thought there was a lot of different ideas that was flying around that I was kind of disappointed didn't necessarily manifest because what everybody was saying was making sense. And, the ideas going on the whiteboard to me as somebody that that had my eyes open and my nose open, trying to take in all the information like a sponge. Everybody was hitting on some major points in regards to forming like one league. Like, why are we allowing Pop Warner or AYF dictate what goes on in our state and in New England? You know what I'm saying? So anytime people feel like we have to always follow a specific agenda that don't meet the demand for the kids that we are overseeing and for programs that we're running, why do we have to always bow down and have to kind of fit a certain shell that don't necessarily work for Connecticut and our dynamic in New England in general? You know what I'm saying? So this platform and how Pop Warner and AYF kind of has been consistently causing a rift and some division in some big games, which, we all talk about, it's about the kids and this, that, and the third. We want to be able to create an experience, ultimately that organizes and galvanizes all the different associations so that we could put on dope events for the kids. You know what I'm saying? I think this was a good year where, more specifically at the 13U level, like you saw a lot of big teams coming together and, just colliding and making good entertainment, you know what I'm saying, for the league. And everybody wants to come together, who's ducking smoke and we want to play this person or why the playoffs so weak. And I think, like Tito always says, we kind of do it to ourselves. So I remember right after that meeting, I was just taking notes. I don't know who I sent the email out to, but I said I would. I put together like a little a shell that could kind of outline.
I have it still. I still have it.
Oh yeah. So it was Tito. So I put together a shell because one thing about me is I know how to build organizations, right? I'm a master at it. That's my skill set. I didn't know too much about the business side of Pop Warner, and I'm still kind of learning, and I'm still kind of adjusting my style to fit today's game. But being around for 3 years, I could see the benefit of us just organizing one league, and having the associations kind of put on for the grand scheme of New England. This league ain't for everybody because everybody wants to poke their chest out and say they this, they that. They have the players, they have the coaches, they have the association that could be able to support this type of elite level competition. But what I'm talking about is calling out 32 teams across New England, across borders, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and we create, like the ultimate Pop Warner experience where all these different teams come together like in an NFL type of system for the simple goals to, create a D1 elite competitive football league that makes the New England football competitive, prioritizing the kids and maximizing the competition. A lot of these kids at the 13, 14U levels, we're asking them kind of not to participate in high school programs because high school programs and their freshman JV programs aren't necessarily providing them with that type of experience. But we could give them good work and good competition as we develop these kids for high school. Prioritizing having full schedules. We all complain about that. Teams flaking out because they don't want to play other associations based on whatever you want to call a skill level or interest or distance travel. That's always been an issue. Prioritizing the championship and playoff experience. Again, if you haven't known by now, like I'm not a fan of Florida. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of teams are. Like Florida to me is just not the end game when it comes to bigging up New England and Connecticut. I feel like the kids could absolutely get good work locally and they can get good work in their region. But I think there's also opportunities in youth sports where teams can go nationally and still have a national tournament that they could participate in outside the Pop Warners and the AYS, but that's a different conversation. But the goal for the most part is to make New England football sports great, right? That's what we always talk about, and everybody wants to see the big games. So why do we keep denying opportunities to create the big games? And again, the final goal would be to take control over the totality of the youth football experience. So a lot of people, go back and forth talking about this won't work. Before they even hear an idea, it's just this won't work. I think when people get stuck in that mind frame of something not working because of personal grievances that people may have with certain organizations or certain ideals that may be a little dated, in my opinion, if you want to call me a young buck I don't look at Tito or Phil as an old head. I look at them as giants in the industry that are still giving Connecticut energy and giving us knowledge. Because again, when I first came into it, I had my notebook out. I'm taking notes, listening to the podcast, listening to Tito, listening to Phil, how y'all move, how y'all coach, how y'all build your organizations, and I apply it to the organization that I'm entrusted to oversee. So I think it'll take a collective effort on the different groups of people and different minds to kind of come together and prioritize what's important, what could work legally and technically by the book, and what are some new ideas that some of the newer cats that kind of have the energy and not less frustration dealing with father time of youth sports that you could just get sick and tired of having the same conversation over and over. That just kind of comes naturally. So when I built this shell, it pretty much answered like a lot of the baseline questions on how to build the organization. So, on the step 2, selecting a working committee of younger and older individuals that should be instrumental in designing the league bylaws. Now, if you're asking me personally how I would go about doing it, I view Pop Warner Central as like the main hub where I would take 32 teams and have them join Central. Now, some people may agree, disagree. I'm just talking about an idea that if I had total autonomy to kind of facilitate something, I would take Central as the hub to invite 32 associations that are willing to compete at the D1 level. And if you're a D2 program like Bloomfield, that always gets 10 or more waivers from D1 programs, that takes us over the edge to be able to compete with the numbers and be able to host and facilitate all age groups, right? So it's not for everybody. So I would, after that, with the Central, I would organize what I call the State of a Union address, which is kind of like, how Nike clinics run on the weekend. I would do something similar for New England football, where we get a hotel, we get it for the weekend, we go to the Marriott, 32 associations, the executive committee, we have elections to elect the governing body of the league. We have 32 presidents locked in, and we break out into subgroups to plan out the year, the different aspects that come with planning jamborees, registration, developing a league site so that we could host a main portal for all this, this information and stuff that we could upload and not upload, and videos, and just kind of a centralized platform for our league. And then you would, from there, at that situation, you would elect a board, and then you would start electing and voting in different associations based on specific criteria. That criteria can be set out at the convention. In my head, some notes that I jotted down is you want to be able to maintain certain age groups. So I put all the age groups down, and you can only miss one. So 6 through 13 would be the age groups that this association or this league would be servicing. But you can't, for example, be a town and you only have 3 teams to come be a part of this league. Like, you don't qualify. There would be dues. I put $1,000 as a rough low end number to join the league. 32 times 1,000, that's $32,000. So out the gate, the organization comes with some money in the bank, $32,000, to fund certain activities that want to go down in the league. So all new businesses, all new organizations take seed money. You got to have bylaws, rules, and organizations, and you have to have a competent board. I would say 32 associations that come together should be able to intellectually divide and conquer and interview the right people to volunteer for the board. And obviously, it's not about running out old heads. It's about keeping them in leadership positions so that they could guide us through, some of the different aspects that we might not be familiar with when it comes to Pop Warner or AYF, or what those bylaws and rules and what different regions, even nationals, may have to say about that. So you got to be able to vet the little stuff when that comes to that type of situation. And then once you have your board in play, you have your associations in play, you create the divisions. So remember I said I would run it through Central, and I would have 4 different divisions, but 2 sides, kind of like NFC, AFC, East, West, North, South, So I would take, for example, you got like, if you want to call it the North Central Division, right? You got Hartford, Windsor, Bloomfield, Manchester, those 4 teams. And then if you want to go west with it, with Meriden, New Britain, Waterbury, whatever another one is, take 4 teams, right? So those are 2 different divisions. But my division, the North Central Division, whatever you want to call it, those 4 teams will play 4 out of conference teams, giving us a schedule of 8, right? So you have an 8-game fully stacked season, and then you take those wins, losses, and you total points, and then you have your playoff bracket, which consists of 14 teams, right? And you run it similar, just like the NFL, where it's broken down by your conference win, your state championship, and then the regional win, which could kind of align with how Pop Warner currently does it anyway. And the point of this, again, every year, the out of conference games can rotate, kind of like they do in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So the playoff structure is pretty similar. The major talking points that always get a little tricky is the waiver situation. And I think there's different colorful ways that we could look at waivers and how we could make certain things work and how we could eliminate certain aspects of the waiver rules now. But even if you just leave the waiver rules in play, it shouldn't impact the success of the league or anything like that. I know cheer is a conversation that might be coming up on the back end. Well, what about the cheer teams? Again, if we're in Pop Warner and you're asking me, I don't think that impacts cheer at all. I think cheer can still function as a cheer entity, register under Pop Warner, and they have your competitions as planned. Towns that have more than one football team, that's a sticky conversation for some associations that they have to manage. I dealt with that in Bloomfield, as many of y'all know. When Breeze introduced the idea and founded the organization, we had 2 programs out here in Bloomfield. But those conversations can be had if people are willing to move out the way and kind of drop the ego and really make it about, what are we trying to do here? There's certain towns that really just don't need 2 teams. Some cities do. I feel like there's a place for Hartford and the New Britons that could actually function and have 2 teams. But for the greater good of having like a one centralized league, I think there's a way to facilitate that conversation where each city or each town has that one team, but that's the politics that get involved with youth sports that, as you guys know, will create the challenges or whatever. I'm gonna take a little pause for the cause because I got more, but I want to give people an opportunity to ask questions.
I have been writing down questions, and so I'm going to go through my litany. Unless Tito, you could go first.
No, I'm just here to listen. I like the idea, because I've been one, as you know, Phil, that Florida can't be the end all be all, especially when there's other options with leagues. I also understand the problems that come with trying to have this conversation, and there's no clear-cut answers, because it would mean people, which we've proven that we're not able to do it. It's going to have to take a collective effort of us coming together first. And that seems to always be where the problem lies.
Right. So and either
I don't want to change the whole tune of the presentation, but
no, that's facts. It's either we want to do something or we don't want to do it. But what kind of is just as a newcomer, every week we on the joint talking about the same thing. Oh, you duck and smoke. Oh, so and so canceled the game. Oh, while y'all playoff bracket is like, oh, why is it this? Why is it that? And we literally have the ability to change it. Like we could legit change it if we wanted to. And the how isn't as difficult as people think outside of the personal and the politics. Phil always asked the great question, well, who's going to be in charge? That's where it gets sticky. Again, if you left it up to me, I would base everything beginning with Central and then invite individuals to that conversation. That's me. I think everything starts with a shell. So I would invite everybody to have a Zoom presentation because I have this on PowerPoint and allow some people to kind of flush it out a little bit cleaner once, some of the questions and some of the things that come out of this conversation could kind of get a little bit more clear understanding. So having a Zoom presentation with the associations where it's just like, okay, this is the shell, this is the idea, what do you guys think? hey, I'm good on this idea. I like it. Let's see if we could take it a step further. Then you will go into the bylaw portion where you have to assemble a committee of advisors. Once you get them advisors in play and you get the bylaws written out and shelled out, that's when we could have that conference to establish like a clear-cut leadership team based on what the bylaws outline, a leadership team should consist of. I think there should be 2 vice presidents, if you were asking me, because there would be 2 NFC, AFC. I'm using the NFL as an example. There would be two sides that you would be managing 16 teams each under a president, secretary, treasurer, league commissioner, all situations like that, and of course a cheer director. Again, you want to be able to have those, like in Central, Phil has those monthly meetings with the associations, touching base, prioritizing getting scheduling done, prioritizing preseason registration and everything that looks like that. And again, I'm talking from a Pop Warner standpoint because that's what I'm familiar with. So it ain't no disrespect to AYF and the competition and those league associations and what those rules and regulations are. It just comes from a place of ignorance. I just don't know. You know what I mean? So I'm speaking in regards to forming an organization under Pop Warner, under Central, because that's what I'm, accustomed to. That doesn't mean that the powers that be that have the knowledge and the information can't come and say, hey, look, this is something that we could do, but we could centralize it here. And we could use this hub. Like CT Central and Pop Warner, just imagine it as a hub. So if there's a better hub or a better option or a better league that we all can just migrate under and play football essentially and do cheer, which is ultimately the goal. I don't give a damn what the hub is, just as long as it makes sense. I'm just using that as an example just to.
And we are talking about the 32, just quick question. The 32 teams will be from across the region. This is bigger than just Connecticut, correct?
Right. So
we're talking about Massachusetts, Rhode Island. Yes. So almost like a Florida elite thing, like how Florida has the Florida elite in Florida where they're completely independent. You're offering something similar in New England, is what you're saying. Right.
And the divisions, again, like the NFL, NFC, AFC, there would be two sides to a championship where each side has 4 conference games. So again, I wrote down 16 teams, without stuttering, just on one side. So I put Hartford, Windsor, Manchester, Bloomfield, Waterbury, Meriden, Danbury, New Britain, New London, Waterville, Torrington, Ansonia, New Haven, Bridgeport, Hamden, West Haven. Those towns alone, that I'm just familiar with. And then on the other side, you could do the same thing, but you include Boston, Springfield, Dorchester, Mount Hope, Providence, West Elmwood, and a host of other programs that could be a part of this elite league. And we just separate it like that, have the vice presidents oversee each division when it comes to the organizational structure, the rules, regulations, bylaws, etc. And then we run this thing like the NFL, 32 games. You have your jamboree, you can have your all-star selection after the league is done. I got another dope idea. I'm not going to put that on the podcast. I don't want nobody to steal it. But it's something dope that I think even at the end of the year, we could do something special, to kind of celebrate everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I think everything would just kind of flow into what New England can provide. And it will eliminate a lot of that the stuff that we bicker about every day.
Quick question. What would be, and you might not have thought this far, what would be the start and end dates? Because I know Phil got a host of questions, but like what would you use? August 1st, July 22nd? What would be the start of the season? What would be the regular season? What would you look at as a playoff into the championship? When would you like to wrap it up by?
Well, I know in Pop Warner, they talked about starting the season a little earlier this year when we were able to have like preseason and stuff. But I think that there is room to add an extra game. I know some people mentioned that if you're going to have a 32-team league and you have playoff structured a certain way, 8 games might not be enough. But I am still thinking about the kids and their education and, they're over them going into other sports. So I think that 8 is still, I still think 8 games is sufficient. I think starting a week earlier this year, before, was it before Labor Day?
No, we start Labor Day. Traditionally, most leagues start Labor Day.
Yeah, we started a week before, I think, this year. And I thought that worked pretty good.
No, we started Labor Day weekend.
You sure?
Everybody's first game was Labor Day weekend, dog. It's always been that way.
Especially
in Pop Warner. AYF some years starts ahead. Pop Warner traditionally has always been Labor Day weekend, even when I played as a kid.
We started last weekend in August. This year alone, we started
later because of the lack of Division I teams. Division II still goes to November 30th. But I would like to get to my questions because I have a lot of questions, and it is the pushback against the theories. So to draw out more information, it's not really designed to shoot it down. But if that's how y'all feel, I really don't give a damn, to be honest, because we're supposed to ask questions. So I'll throw it out there, and you or Tito can answer it. Well, I got a comment first. We oftentimes, everybody out there always saying, oh, don't worry about Florida. Florida's not that important. The problem all of you guys have, and Beefy said this at our meeting, is y'all don't get to decide how important Florida is. The parents does. And if the parent and the kids, that become their dream, that become their goal, then you have to provide that path with a league, or else people not going to sign up with the hope that you may do something on your own. Just my opinion. I think having the league script out the path for them, AYF, Pop Warner, is a lot easier than saying, don't worry about it. At the end of the league, you guys can get together and decide to go to some tournament. That's just my opinion. Now, you said something that set out for me, so I need you to explain this. You said the board should consist of older and younger. Before I ask you the question, let me say this. You guys out there oftentimes say old heads when referring to me and Tito. Not you, but I hear it a lot, right? Trev, I think they consider you a non-old head because you're new in the space. So I oftentimes think that they don't mean our age. They mean the amount of years in the game, right? When they say old heads, they're saying you guys been in the game too long. And the truth is, look, I hear it, so y'all can make it up. They do want me and Tito out soon, which is cool because they're going to get it from me. Tito is going to coach forever. I'm not. At 50, I'm checking out. Y'all can have the space. So I got about 2 years and y'all can have the game. But my point is, when you say consist of older and younger, please explain that board and why it must consist of older and younger. Because being older don't bring any more value than being younger. To me, it should consist of more. If it's my choice, which it ain't going to be, but if it was, I would say it should consist of those that can add more value. If it happens to be all older, it's all older. If it happens to be all younger, it's all younger. Why the breakdown of older and younger? And are you talking age or years in the game?
Nah, I was similar to you, like years in the game. So, I think there are people that are just going to be naturally frustrated with the process of planning, structuring, organizing, just because their tenure being in an organization so long. For example, like I'm in a fraternity, right? Been doing that 20 plus years, and I have no desire to be anybody's chapter president, like ever again. Been there, done that, did my time, punched my clock. I'm just trying to be a regular member. Y'all can argue about what you need to argue about. I'm gonna sit in the Raptors and tell you what we should be doing as an older, member in the organization, and what we should kind of stray away from. So I'm more so talking about your tenure and experience within Pop Warner, or AYF or youth football in general, because there's a lot of people that just got the knowledge and the experience of going down to different tournaments, the experience of playing things at a very high level. Like you, for example, you have the ability to galvanize a lot of people, and people respond to things that you're trying to do within the Pop Warner youth sports world. So your knowledge is supreme. Tito, same thing. His knowledge of coaching is supreme. You know what I mean? So he could teach it. He could teach people he could teach coaches how to be coaches. He could teach coaches how to be, professional in different associations, etc. So, the two of you and other people that I've, had the privilege to learn from just in Central alone have valuable experience that I go to. You know what I mean? So I would consider myself a baby in the organization because 3 years is nothing compared to the people that have been doing it for ages.
So let me keep going. All right. So I think one of the issues is, and you guys can address this, and I talk to Tito about this all the time. I think we got to get out of the mindset that there should be a Division I. Unfortunately, Connecticut consists of small towns. I'm going to speak on Connecticut. If you count on your hands, you cannot get the 10 cities above 65,000 people. Just can't. And when you start throwing in Ansonia as a Division I, you're already ran out of ideas, in my opinion, right? Because if Ansonia is never going to be in a league with Hartford, New Haven, and
right. Well, that's another part of the conversation, which.
But no. But that's what something he mentioned though. He said a 32 team Division One.
He was just using Towns. He was using Towns as an example.
So my point is, I don't think it'll work at Division One. Just my opinion. If you brothers think it'll work, fine.
No, I agree with you. The truth is, and I'm sure Trev knows this, the suburbs ain't messing with us. So this would be, in theory, the all-minority league. Because the suburbs have made all their leagues, and they've excluded all of us out of them. So clearly this will be the all-minority league if it ever came to fruition. Like, we need to be clear on that.
Right. So that's where I'm going. And Trev, you said something that I think that we got to get out the mindset of. Because too often, it's the guys, and it's not personal, Trevor, but everybody says this. It's the guys that's not in large cities that continue to promote and believe that the large city should remain separated. You made a statement, I wrote it down. You said you still have the belief that the Hartfords of the world should still have two teams. Being in Hartford, I can tell you I do not subscribe to that belief, because that separates our children, separates our coaching's ability. It separates everything. And the key to this league would be Hartford being strong enough to do 6 to 13. And if we need two teams at every level, albeit New Britain doing 6 to 13 together. Bridgeport 6 to 13. Why? Because of what I think Tito's point is. If you take out all the small towns that won't mess with us, let's literally talk about the towns we're talking about that we could produce in Connecticut. Let's say you have Bridgeport, Hartford, New Britain. Let's say you have Windsor. Nope, not even Windsor, because right now they're in producing amount of teams to do it. Let's say you had Windsor, and let's say you had Bloomfield. We're at 5. Let's say you add Meriden. Let's say you add who? I name another team. I'm at 6.
Well, I mean, inner cities that are involved.
Playing a massive schedule like we. New Haven.
Springfield. You got the Boston teams. You got Dorchester, the Boston Raiders.
No. Connecticut. That's the second half.
Connecticut. Waterbury.
5,
New
4,
Haven.
9.
New Haven. Stratford. I mean, Stratford's a D2.
Stratford's not going to come and play in this league.
West Haven.
I like Stratford. West Haven won't come play in this league.
Hamden
won't come play in this league. I mean, Matt Kennedy's on. And Matt, do you think realistically Calvin would make the decision to pull that program and jump into this league with these teams? Bring Norwalk back. Norwalk got you football. They're not leaving Fairfield County. Like, I'm trying to give people realistic views. The theory is cool, but these are programs that have had opportunities where I've been in rooms and they said, now that Hartford's out of Southern, maybe we can grow, because they didn't want to be in the league.
Well, it turned out not to be true. That was a stupid thought.
No, relevant. I don't even care about that. But the point is, the thought that Hartford's gone, now we can grow, leads me to believe that people don't want to be in leagues with Hartfords of the world. Like, that's all I'm bringing out. That's not something for you to answer, Trev. I'm just giving you knowledge of what has transpired in the space when the big cities have got together, everybody else scatter, and we end up with 8 or 9 teams. And unfortunately, you don't see people wanting to jump in.
And to respond to that, right?
But London may be one. That is true.
It'd be some of them same teams, though, that they may have a team that's really good in their association or their program, right? And then it becomes my team is the best in the state and blah, blah, blah. But if people are going to continue to take that stance, why don't we create the opportunity for them to bring their association to an elite level so that the games are always consistent and it's not just, West Haven has this 13U team. I'm not picking on West Haven, so nobody at me talking about Trev says something bad about West Haven. I ain't just using that as anything. West Haven has this elite 13U team, and but they don't want to come to an elite league. You know what I'm saying? But on socials or
West Haven don't even want to be Division I, bro. and Southern.
Well,
Forget about
C's question was up before,
and I
before
just answered the question.
Yeah.
West Haven don't even want to be Division One. It doesn't matter what a coach want. I'm telling you what board members want. We got to convince board members to bring their associations. West Haven don't even think that they're Division One. So to ask them to jump in with all Hartford, all Bridgeport, all, but I'll move on because I don't want to say
but to that point, if teams don't want to go to a certain division at the same time,
wait, you finish. Brian. I ain't lie about no facts. So don't tell me spread facts, sir. Number one, all I said was West Haven won't come Division One. You're making my point because the only reason you pointing out population is to prove you shouldn't be in the same league as Hartford. That's the only reason you pointed out. I said nothing about West Haven population at all. All I said was West Haven don't want to be Division One. I didn't spread no facts about how many people Hartford got. I don't even think we discussed population. But you pointing this out says to me that you guys don't want to be Division One because you only got 55,000 people.
You guys don't want to hear my theory. I believe if you got a double L high school, you should be Division One. Like that would be too logical for people, though.
That's absolutely
too logical for people. If you have a double L high school and you're in a one high school town situation like West Haven, New Britain, that should automatically, or even Hamden, should automatically Manchester should quantify you as being D1. But I know people wouldn't go for it.
But look, okay. I'm gonna just say okay. I ain't gonna disagree with y'all no more.
No, but this is conversation.
No, Phil, you're right. So like those.
I think y'all bugging because you got like. You guys are theorizing, and I got my foot on the like Manchester. Like you just said 6-13, and they should field all the levels. Well, look at the towns y'all talking about. Manchester don't field all the levels. So what is the purpose of saying they should be in this league when now this is why the schedule in AY. Hold on, let me finish. This is why you see everybody writing 24. Ty don't even have the lower levels, and Manchester still ain't full at the lower levels, right? And this is why you see people online talk about my 8U open. Yo, do you have a game at 13U? Can I get a game at 12? Because we have not decided that if you see, part of this problem is nobody want to do a hard thing. And I'm going to tell you what the hard thing nobody want to do. Is say if you can't fill 6-13, you can't be part of my league. So now when Trevor play Hartford, all of Trevor going to all of Hartford. We're not taking the 3-town team over there.
Right.
Because now when Trevor play them, who your other team's supposed to play? Now you back on Facebook. Do anybody want to play a 13U game this weekend? I got to buy. And then you play next week, and then they don't got a 12U. Do anybody want to play a 12U team? Because they got to buy. That's the problem. The hard work is holding people accountable. That's really why people saying it ain't going to work, because don't nobody really believe there's going to be accountability. What's the repercussion for canceling games at AYF? Right? And so if you think about it, what starts to cultivate is the fact that nobody feels they got to be held accountable to this thing. And so when you look at the high school numbers and put that on the youth, some kids ain't playing football until high school.
Can't accountability look like
correlation between double L high schools and youth football?
Can't accountability look like removing associations from programs or having excessive fines for missed games, etc.? So, like, if there's multiple offenses where teams are constantly, chronically canceling games, or if you have a league and you know the requirement is your bare minimum, you got to have 8, 10, 12, 13 bare minimum. You don't have to do the odds and none of that. Why aren't leagues, both Pop Warner and AYF, holding true to that? Why are we allowing like certain teams or certain leagues to come in with just one team? Like, to me,
now that's crazy. But AYF has always, just to answer this question real quick, has always did that every level. Pop Warner Pop Warner was weighted up until 4 or 5 years ago. Then they went all evens, which seemed to fit Pop Warner better. I will not argue that. Seemed to fit better, or even going going the opposite way. But going every other level seemed to be a better formula for Pop Warner. But AYF has always offered every year. So somewhere in the middle, you guys would have to figure out how you're going to break down the divisions. I mean, so that all right.
So Brian, to answer your question, how about you do me a favor, Brian Jordan? How about you go to the West Haven board right now or tomorrow call Kebby up, call Adam up, say, hey guys, we're gonna vote that our program be Division I next year. Forget about our massive league. How about you do it? And when you do it next week, Brian, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I want to bring you on the show live, and I want you to tell me what they said to you. I don't even want to go back and forth with you. I don't care who you played during the year. The fact it seemed to be a disconnect between you and talking to the rest of your people. And I don't want to make it about West Haven, but you're making it about West Haven. My point is, I know that teams like West Haven and the rest of them don't want to be Division I. Kebby, call Brian. I got more questions. Can I keep going?
Yep.
All right, so you said that so here's my question to you. Why is it do you guys think, because you said once the board is selected, it's selected, people need to get out their feelings and just do what's best for the youth, right? So I wrote something down because I have a question. Because you spoke for West Haven. I didn't speak for nobody. I spoke to West Haven, and I'm telling you what they said, Brian. I'm telling you what came out from your board members. I ain't speaking for y'all. I don't think you just talk to your board, bro. Talk to your board. Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm trying to tell him I speak to his board
I know what you're saying. Unfortunately, you guys, we know the chain of command in West Haven, and it is not the people that do all the talking. I don't know what he's talking about. But listen, not the people that do all the talking.
You know what? I don't speak for West Haven. Maybe West Haven would join. Maybe they'd vote to join. Let's leave it there. But anyway, why would it not be smart for Phil Bryant? And I'm asking this facetiously. Why would it not be smart for Phil Bryant to look at the board you select and say, I don't trust Tito. I don't trust Trevor. I'm not putting the Hartford Hurricanes in there because I don't trust you guys. Why is it not smart for me to choose wisely who I'm going to put my youth under just to have this kumbaya moment?
No, that's not.
I'm saying this. I know that's what people are going to say.
No, that's not an unintelligent ask. That's a fair request, and that's why I always believe in creating platforms for people to get information and and to be informed and make educated decisions. When you have an initial shell being presented via Zoom and you have an initial interest meeting, somebody that could sell information and present an idea, you're either interested or you ain't. And if the initial shell is interesting, and then people are interested in building like on that different idea, I think that conference or that State of the Union address is where you flush a lot of the garbage out. You give people an opportunity to present their platform as to why the leadership that is coming forward is saying, hey, look, I'm interested in actually being the president of this type of idea. This is what I know, and this is how I would go about doing it. And those 32 associations or 16 or however many the hell express interest, come to the I call it a conclave, but come to the State of the Union address, 2-3 days. You go through the bylaws line by line. You go over the agenda of the leadership that have assembled and met after the initial subcommittee. And then they have an opportunity to present to the masses, and all the presidents and their league associations go hear from the people themselves, and they make an informed decision on the trust issues that you're talking about. So, because again, like I don't know many people, so I know people in Central and people I work with, but I don't have no ill malice towards anybody. And I think LJ brought this up a couple of weeks ago. Going into a situation neutral when you're younger and younger in sports and you don't know what you don't know, I think that eliminates some of the trust issues because you're kind of going blind, but you're a little bit more vulnerable to giving people an opportunity to either sink their own ship. You know what I'm saying? So trust is always a delicate issue when it comes to politics, especially in youth sports. I don't think politics belongs in youth sports, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? So.
You have that, C's. I'm done with the West Haven thing, man. Division II, Division I, call it whatever. I was making a bigger point. It wasn't about Division I, Division II. All I was trying to say was that when you start talking about the big cities, instantly you exclude a lot of small towns, and it's been proven. And this is why CTYFL
and Northern and Shoreline and Fairfield County and the Nutmeg. This is why these leagues exist, right? You trust me, Hartford do not have an opportunity to go and apply to any of those leagues. Every one of them leagues will vote no. Every single one of them will vote no. It's for a reason that they will vote no. You know what I'm saying? Lastly, let me say so far, based on what you said, I think the waiver. You said you think the waivers could stay the same. I've been doing this a long time, so I'm gonna just give some intel, and everybody could push back. As long as you're allowing waivers, the team that's winning the most will take a lot of the kids. It's just true. Teams that lose kids. Winners win, losers lose. And I think that there would have to be a creative. You said you got a colorful way. I don't know if you got it or you was just saying there is some colorful ways maybe to come up with it. But if you got one, I'd be interested in hearing, because
yeah. So this is something I've been throwing around myself this year alone. I personally believe for something like this, a D2 program, like let's just use Bloomfield. You know what I mean? Losing Division II players that go play in Hartford, for example, could be detrimental to a small town like Bloomfield, because we don't have as many resources and kids to pull from, just like in Windsor. And in some cases, Manchester, even though Manchester is like triple the size of Bloomfield, kids-wise. But for smaller towns, to have kids leave that program and to go play for a New Britain or a New Haven or a Hartford is detrimental to Division II programs. So if it was me, I would figure out a way to kind of limit that, so that that's not necessarily an option. And with the goal for Division II teams to have an opportunity to compete against D1 teams, be able to accept a certain amount of waivers, per team. I think the limit for what is it, 10 waivers? Anything over 10 waivers, you're a D2 program or D1 program. Right. I think that you could break it down to, like, if we were to keep divisions D1, D2. I think if I have more than 4 Division I waivers on just my one team, then that makes my program a D1 program, et cetera. Figuring out like that. I think there's different ways to.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest about something. The reason I believe Shoreline is so successful with the way they do things, you are not allowed to have kids from out of town in your corn organizations, and I think that works because it keeps the parity imbalance isn't so great when you do it that way. I think one of the reasons they're successful because there is no waiver. You have to play for your respective town where you're from, and you can't have kids from out of town at all. There's no waivers over there at all, and I think that's just an interesting point I wanted to bring up.
No, right. That I think that works in certain regards, and I think when you're talking about a certain elite style of play, and also keeping in mind doing what's best for kids, like who am I to tell a family that is trying to provide the best experience for their son or daughter that they shouldn't compete in a certain space or compete with a certain coach based on specific relationships? Because like you said, trust is a thing. What if parents have an issue with what if a parent don't, had an issue with me and don't feel comfortable with their kids just being around me?
Play there regardless. That's not how football works.
No, I get it. I get it.
We accommodating youth parents, and we have given them so much power that now we're starting to lose our leagues because we have this belief that parents got a right to play for the coach they like. You do not get to play for the coach you like. That's not how it works in high school. It's not how it works in college. That's not how it works in the NFL. So if we're teaching these kids life skills, then we also need to teach these parents some life skills. You pay taxes in New London, play your butt in New London. You don't like the coach? Cool. You may not like the high school coach. You know what you do? You talk to the president, you figure out a safe space and a happy medium, and you let your child play. The only reason I say that is, as long as you allow waivers, you will get people taken. Now, if you're asking me about Pop Warner, I listen, I do not believe that New Bloomfield 13U should be D1, but they 10U should be D2, only because I've seen the administrator side. I do the scheduling. I've done the scheduling in Southern for years. I used to do the scheduling when Southern had 17, about 20 teams.
when Ron and Greg had tapped me into doing it. It's not easy. And now you want to separate Bloomfield's Division One and now so here's what we're gonna have. But Bloomfield 13U wants to play a D1 schedule, but they 10U want to play a D2 schedule. So now the 10U and the 13U will never play together, except when they're home. So every away game, 10U over there, 13U over there, 8U down there. That's mayhem for a family that may have two children. So I think we have to think about holistically that honestly, it sounds like everybody's trying to find a way to just keep the stat team, right? Well, I should be, if she likes me better than she likes you. So the starting running back should be able to play for me because she just don't like the fact that Tito's going to hold her accountable for practice. Phil's going to let the kid do what he wants. So of course she likes me because she could drive 10 minutes down the road and play for Phil and come on Tuesday and Thursdays, but not Fridays. And so there needs to be a policy. I think you either allow waivers or you don't. Too much to me for a league to work like this. Again, nobody wants to be held accountable. I said that earlier with the other rules. It comes down to holding people accountable. And Shoreline and the leagues that are thriving, that's keeping us out. They have rules. Those people respect the rules. They don't like the rules, but you know what? So what? You don't get everything you like. That's not how life works. This is the rule. If it's no waivers, it's no waivers. Bloomfield kids going to play in Bloomfield. I don't care that your aunt wants you every Tuesday through Friday because of the family structure. You're playing in Bloomfield. I ain't saying that got to be the rule. If it's not, then open up the waivers and let kids waive out. I just think that that'll be tough to keep a small town like yourself, Trev. If Hartford runs the league and we win at 5 or 6 levels, bro, you can walk. Me and you literally play down the street from each other. You can go straight and from Annie Fisher drive straight into Bloomfield, take a left. I'm at your field, what, 10 minutes?
Not even.
Kids.
3-4 minutes.
Kids.
4 minutes.
Like, man, I want to go to Florida with Hartford. They over there now. Why? If we go through this league and we beat everybody 40-0, they kind of know next year we got a good shot at winning 40-0. And that is where the driving force. And then you know what you got. You got the coaches that do the creepy crawler and they get into a kid inbox.
Yeah.
Or they write them on the gram, or they start liking his page, right? And now they
give them corny gold tickets.
Started running back to leave you. And so I'm just pushing back because I think that if nobody pushes back, it won't make you think about sharp. Because I think you could go forward. I think you should lead the charge, schedule the meeting. I think you should do it. I think you should hold a Zoom. We'll stream it live with everybody on if it's possible. But those are things I think you want to think of because the waiver issue will X out a lot of people. And I'm going to be honest, a lot of people, and we have to think realistically about us. And when I say us, I mean we know who's not welcomed in the other leagues. And so when looking at the teams that exist amongst us, what realistically can it look like? And maybe we should only have even levels, or maybe we should only have odd levels where we know we all gonna fill them. Maybe you don't offer everybody every level because I think Pop Warner started dying scheduling wise when they added odd. I don't care when we were even, there was a gauntlet like hell. When Pop Warner first went in the age base, I don't know if you noticed, Trev, but they went even only 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. You had to play Southern Championship. You then had the state championship. You then had the regional. You then had a regional quarterfinal.
Yeah, but the Southern Championship was like 3 rounds. Right, like 3 rounds. You had the Wednesday night game, and you had the Wednesday night game. In
2019, my 14U played 15 games to get out of New England. 15 games, and that's because everybody filled it every level. They made it every 2 years. And yes, but you know what else that meant, Trevor? Just because you were stacked and good at 10U, at 11U, you weren't automatically the best team because those kids are on the younger side. So you know what you had to do? You had to coach. You just got the Florida team at 10U. You went to Florida. Congratulations, Bloomfield. But at 12, those kids 11. But last year, my 12, you brought back a lot of other kids. So now Trev ain't the oldest team in the book. Now you see on AYF and Pop Warner, the best team is the best team all the way through. And so you get these coaches who follow a team because they're the best team that say, I ain't lose a game in 8 years. And then after 8 years, they either go away and never coach again, or they start losing and they get quiet off of social media.
And they start forfeiting games.
Because they
start forfeiting games.
It's easy to compete when you follow the great team all the way through. And you see it all the time. I see it. It's not for me to call out nobody, but I see it all the time. There's coaches that'll tell you, I haven't lost a game in 5 years. You've been with the same team. Stay at the 10U level. Take a new group. Cultivate those kids. Give those kids the Trev. Let Trev be successful. Maybe he won't. Who knows? And so there's no cultivation in our space because it's based on winning. And so I think that those are the things that I would think about if I was you on trying to do it. But let's answer some of the people. Let's talk playoff football. This can't wait till January.
No, and for the record, like I had like some notes on waivers being like the hot button on, you know, waiver. It was waivers and declaring all levels. So like going back to just the even structure to start out, having the associations ranked between 16 and 32 teams. So those are all different things. And the major talking point would be if teams want to compete in this opportunity, it wouldn't be necessarily about them just wanting to come D1. It would be about them wanting the experience of playing everybody, you know what I mean, and not necessarily be shelled in one part of the state. So, like I know West Haven was the hot ticket earlier, but if West Haven wants an opportunity to play quote unquote D1 teams or some of the bigger inner cities because they think they can, you know, they have an opportunity to do so in this league and in this structure. And if you're saying there's a lot of teams that just feel comfortable staying where they're at, then the conversation ain't for them. I think it's literally that simple. I think, but the conversation and tones absolutely have to change in forums and on Facebook pages, because you can't talk big talk, you know, when you have one program doing well, and now all of a sudden you're the best of the best in a certain division because that specific team is undefeated, or they just so happen to be Division 2, or they just so happen to be Division 1, but they're not playing the other undefeated teams, or they're not playing other teams that
your whole program got to jump in. I don't like the fact that, listen, if you got teams backing out of games, don't talk like you. Like I don't care who you are. If you have a level that's scared to play games, you don't get to be mentioned in no conversation. At least not with the Hartford Hurricanes, because we don't back out of no game. We actually call in big dogs to play, even if we're gonna get slapped around. And see, the problem is we have to. I think the league would have to say your whole entire program has to come play. Yeah. I'm not playing your best 13U team.
Right.
I'm not playing your best 6U team. So you can come win and say, I'm the best program. I'm not playing your best 11U team. You have to bring your entire program, pull up in Bloomfield, and we play top to bottom.
Right.
Because that's what we're missing. They have it in the other leagues. We cherry picking over here. Yo, this team not good, so he ain't showing up. But yo, my 13U pulling up on you, Trev, because my boy, my running back is crazy. Rel's crazy. I know he can hold it down. But yo, my 10U running back, he ain't like that, so we not coming. That becomes a problem.
Right.
It becomes a problem, and we gotta stop. We have to make it where you either all in or you out. But we gotta be like them. We not accepting the others. See, we got to feel okay with telling people, no, we don't want you. I'm going to give you a story, Trev. I'm not going to say who it was. I was sitting in a room one day, and a lady that's sitting right next to me was from a small town. I was part of a league. And she said in my face, in front of maybe 25 people, boom, 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 like, I don't want to play Hartford like that. I don't want to have to play our Hartford Hurricanes. And I said, I agree with her because I don't want to have to play teams like, and then I said the name. And she said, oh, that was disrespectful. See that? See what happened? When she said she didn't want to play the Hartford Hurricanes, she did not see it as disrespect. So I repeated, I agree with her because I don't want to play teams like, and I said her town. And she said it was disrespectful. They don't even see it the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we have to be able to put ourselves on the same pedestal that they put themselves on and say, you're not welcome. If you're not going to come over here with everybody and play every game and play us like we play, you're not welcome. So we got to be okay to say no. And the problem we got is, and because look, right now we are biting the pieces. Central, Southern, maybe AYF, Pop Warner, Mick League up there. No, we're biting the pieces. Let's be honest. We're getting all the crumbs that's left. That's why you are literally up here talking like this, because we're getting the crumbs of what they have left. And so the question would be, how do those 4 leagues in New England come together? Because really, we talking AYF and Pop Warner. All local leagues is good. Central Mass, AYF, kind of like a local. They're good. They probably got like 50 teams.
33. They got 33 organizations.
33 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're good. It's us with the crumbs. And so the question is, if you set Mick down,
we're talking Southern, Central. Let's just talk what it is. Southern, Central, CTYFC, and New England Elite. You talking about those 4?
That's it.
Those 4 leagues, right? Those 4 leagues. Those 4 leagues are, well, 2 out of 4 got somewhere to turn. 2 out of 4 got
Southern that would definitely not join it, but those are the leagues we're talking about. The teams in those leagues is what we would be talking about.
Yeah, if they have to want to be interested. That
I agree.
They have it's literally that simple. If anybody is interested in developing something that could legit be a possibility with a strong schedule that consists of a strong playoff experience, this conversation is for you. You know,
so I think I got a pathway for you, brother. Here we go. I'm gonna put it in your lap since you hosting this. I think you should contact Mick. I have his contact info. I can give it to you. I can give you Kelly number. I can give you Mike last number, and who else?
Vaughn number.
And then Vaughn. I think I got Vaughn number.
I got Vaughn number.
And I think you should schedule a meeting with them 4 brothers with you. And I think you guys should meet and start it as a conversation at the top with the 4 leagues with a conversation and see how it's got to start somewhere. I think it should start there. And I think whatever come out of that meeting with you 4, that's how it has to start. Personally, I think that's a good path forward. People ask for waivers to go to winning teams that coaches recruited them to. I just got a message from anonymous person that said people ask for waivers to go to places that they're being recruited to, which I said that will be a problem. You know what I'm saying? To go back to the waiver. But I think that's where you should start, Trev. I think you should 100% start with a conversation with the people at the top. Because to be honest, you got to convince boards to dissolve. It's not easy to give up power. You and I watch. It's a political season in a week.
Yeah.
You have an 80-year-old guy billionaire that still wants power. If I had $80 billion, I don't want no power. I want to be on the beach and I want to be around nobody. I want to chill away from everybody. But power is hard to give up. And that is the biggest thing. You're going to ask 4 presidents, at least, possibly 4 got to give up the presidency. But at least 3 would. It's not going to be an easy task. Because I think power is the problem. This is why I think Tito spoke about it in the past. This is why Tito didn't think that it would work. Because he thought, and I agree, soon as you name the people on that board.
People's out. People's out because this conversation is deeper on so many levels because the bottom line, to make it quick, we're programmed to kill each other first. So soon as how do I say this easy? Soon as, let's say, we push Trev to the front of the line. Now all of a sudden we got 3 dudes all of a sudden like F Trev. You know what I'm saying? Because Trev is getting pushed forward. Now let me figure out what I need to do to pull him down. And then we're back to the next option and the next option. Next thing you know, it doesn't get done. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what we're trained and programmed to do. Because
at the end of the day,
themselves.
At the end of the day, it's going to come down to desire and people getting out their own way, because you can't dispute something that is a good idea. Like, a good idea is always going to be a good idea every day of the week, as long as it's flushed out by the right people. Again, I sat and listened humbly because you guys got the information. Like, I didn't cut nobody off. I listened. Like, people just got to tone it down and listen and be open to the information and the jewels. And at the same time, as Tito, you always talk about the culture of youth sports. People need to simmer down and just coach your team. Right. And you can't be on platforms talking the loudest. Again, like Phil said, if you got programs or teams in your program, duck in work, call it out. If just because you got one good team, having a good team don't mean you have a good program. You know what I'm saying?
There's no premium put on organizations no more. Everything's about the super team, and as we've seen over time, and me and Phil could attest to this, the super team will absolutely destroy a program when it leaves. It eventually gone. What is left of the program when there was no focus put on any other part of the program? What you got is a dead program. You got a dead program. And when you got a dead program, it leads to other problems, which we're all dealing with. But listen, I think Phil gave you a good idea. We got the numbers of all the folks that need to be in that conversation. I think we need to forward the information to Trev and give it a shot. Give it a shot. You'll know after the conversation with the four guys if there's going to get any rhythm or not. You know what I'm saying?
To be honest, the reason I think you have to lead it, I think it'll have to take somebody new. It can't be me. It can't be you.
Definitely can't be me.
People see us controversially, right? Like I'm a controversial individual. I am, especially in board meetings, because when I don't agree with something, I say it. That's controversial in youth football.
I'm gonna call people on their bullshit.
Non-controversial people are quiet in the back rooms. I'm not quiet in back rooms, bro. Listen, for everybody out there that's on the outside. When I'm in a room, in a Pop Warner room, or that's really on the rooms I've been in, I just want y'all to know I speak up. Everybody in rooms with me can attest. When Phil don't agree with something, when I think it's wrong, even if it's not towards Hartford, it could be towards a subset of people. I have to tell you, because I'm built like that. And to me, people don't want that. I'm gonna be honest. People want calm, and it's just look. But you also need credibility, and I think you start with those four brothers, and I think that you guys can lead it. If it's going to happen, it's going to take the four presidents to agree to at least continue a conversation.
Right, and that's a part of the milestones and the timelines anyway. So again, anytime you build something, you got to have a plan, and you got to start with those initial conversations.
So just to answer a couple things. So we saying adults is going to ruin the opportunity for kids 100%. They've been doing that for years. So Keebler keep asking, discuss the balance of travel. Keebler, if you listen to what he said, he was like small conferences, 4 in Central Connecticut, 4 in Western Connecticut. So you would have West Haven, New Britain, Meriden, and I don't know, Middletown or something.
The 4 in Boston.
So you would get 4 local games and you would travel 4 places. That's how it got to be. And unfortunately, there is no more local travel in youth football on a national track. You have to be willing to go out of state if you want to be on a national track, Pop Warner or AYF at this point. The days of thinking you're going to go from Hartford to Bloomfield to Windsor to East Hartford to Middletown to Vernon to Glastonbury and have a full season and go to Florida, that don't exist. Unfortunately, I wish it did. I just don't think that world is coming back. Waivers go both ways. At the end of the day, I don't believe a youth league can tell parents where their kid goes. Absolutely, they can, Mike. They do it all the time. AYF and Pop Warner. And the flip side to the D2 kids going D1 is it works in reverse also. D2 towns can recruit D1 kids. It happens all the time. They run the show in D2. That's why you set up thresholds on programs that will bump to the D1 status. A good board is not made up of yes men. It's made up of people with different beliefs. True, but they tend not to want to agree. But I don't want you to get off, Trev, because we're gonna continue this conversation. But I do want to bring on LJ, and let me tell you why I want to bring on LJ, everybody.
My man.
Because he called me out last week, and I said, you know what, LJ? You are going to give me an answer
to your meeting with the other Waterbury team, and I pray that he says in a minute that the Waterbury will have one team next year because the Hartford's going to have to follow, and Bridgeport's going to have to follow, and New Britain's going to have to follow. And let me tell everybody why. Because we won't win. We're not going to win with half our city if all of his cities together. They're going to force our hand to come up with some agreements. And with that being said, LJ, I'm going to turn it over to you. Welcome to the show, brother.
What's going on, man? I appreciate it.
Tell them who you represent first. Go ahead, LJ. Give the whole. You got to give the whole speech.
LJ Washington, Treasurer, Waterbury Patriots.
And assistant coach of what team?
Assistant coach, 9U, Waterbury Patriots. I'll see you this week, brother.
Yes.
So, originally you said you was gonna give me 30 days. It's been 7. But
I said the next podcast you on live, you walked up to me at the cheer cup and said, "I'm ready." Don't play that.
Well, as soon as we had the conversation last week, I jumped on the phone.
Yep.
Started making some calls. The lines of communication are open between both programs. I will say that much. We don't have anything definitive, anything in stone. As you know, there's a lot of moving pieces to something like this in the first place. But the lines of communication are definitely open. I'm having conversations with some of the decision makers. Somebody said Waterbury United. So we did that. We did that. What was it? 3 years ago? Whatever Joel's league first 2 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah.
So
2020 going on 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, we actually did get both teams to come to the table, and we did the spring league together. And I was involved in that at the time. So the blueprint is there. We know we can work together. It's just refining some of the other details that.
We know what the details. I mean, let's be honest. The big line is Pop Warner.
Let him ask him. What is your biggest hurdle, you think?
The biggest hurdle? It's probably along the lines of what Tito was saying.
I knew it was, but I want him to say it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Pop Warner, AYF. So all the more reason why a league like Trev is proposing would be a problem solver.
Without a national track, you're saying?
I mean, and Trev, you and I have had conversations about this in the past. There are alternatives. If that's something that you think is going to be a selling point for families down the road, that, you know, at the end of this, we have to be able to play for something. We could figure that out. It doesn't necessarily have to be what's traditionally been proposed, but that's something we can figure out for sure.
Quest, the president of Patriots, said, "I'm here and I'm open for it." Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all right now.
There it is.
If Waterbury do this, depending on what league they get in, y'all might not win. There's going to be hard for people to win football games. Other people's going to have to get together. I'm just telling you. Titletown and UIFL open type of events.
UIFL, I believe, is closed open division. You have to be a UIFL.
Yep, they changed it.
League. Now you don't have to be National Track League, but you have to be under their banner to now go to that open division, I believe. So that may have changed over the last year.
You know,
that would be big for Waterbury. So I got more questions.
Sure.
You said that the biggest hurdle you think is going to be league. Hypothetically, let's say, you know what? Let's say Duke caved. Pop Warner it is. Duke, you coming over, baby.
You put my
Bring little Duke over here. Let's say it's Pop Warner. What do you? I have an idea, so I'm gonna ask you. I want to see if you thinking along the lines.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the second biggest hurdle you're gonna face?
Who's the president?
You know what?
President?
I don't think that'll be a problem. To be honest with you, I don't think that'll be a problem for us. It's I think the second biggest hurdle will just be how you break the teams out, because at that point we're no longer going to be able to have 110U, 111U, 112. We're going to have to be looking at multiple teams.
Which is fine. I can be honest. You remember New Haven back in the day? They had 2 6Us, 2 8Us, 2 10. Hartford used to have 2 junior peewees, 2 peewees we had before. And you know what the beauty about that is? That's actually 2 programs. I'm gonna tell you why.
if you got 8, 10, 12, 14A, 8, 10, 12, 14B, you guys can compete. If you're going on a national track, you guys may play for a championship to keep going.
Mhm.
So scheduling wise, of course, I'm looking at it as a schedule. That is beautiful because that's 2 programs. I see that as the equivalent to a Hartford and a Bloomfield, because I got New Haven 1 and New Haven 2. And then 1 week, guess what? New Haven 1 is playing New Haven 2. That's the easiest thing in the world. Y'all stay home, y'all play each other, you wear your red, yellow, and you wear your black. I ain't got to worry about them. So that's actually a good thing, by the way. I just want to say that because we did it, and it's great to have 2 teams at every level. I hope that we could do, I wish we could do it in Hartford and have 2 teams at every level. But we're going to get y'all to do it in Waterbury and force us.
Yeah, the only problem I see with that is, God forbid, Team A is winning, Team B isn't winning. How do you mediate? Well, my kid needs to be on Team A as opposed to Team B going forward, or with this coach as
So
opposed
you
to
guys
this
will
coach.
figure that out. I will tell you this. I seen New Haven do drafts. They practice together for the first week.
Mhm.
When equipment come out, LJ's there, I'm here. I get this pick, you get that pick. I get this pick, you get that pick. I seen Stratford decide there's an A team, the top 25 kids is on this team. The lower 25 kids is on that team. Yes, they go 8-0, they go 0-8. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, football is not equal. Tito says that all the time. Some kids are born faster, some kids are bigger, some kids are stronger, some kids are slower, some kids got 2 left feet. So the truth is, parents watch their kids. Parents know damn well their kids shouldn't be on the A team. You know. I know my kids shouldn't be on that A team. So I think it's multiple ways to do it. Last question. I noticed you didn't say name. You don't think that would be an issue? You guys willing to drop your name? They willing to drop theirs, or both of y'all willing to go new?
I think the cleanest way to do it would probably be to go new. Both the programs have a lot of history in Waterbury, and I don't think it's fair to either program to necessarily give up their name, come across to somebody else when we can just go
something new.
Yeah, so I think something new is the cleanest way. We already went under the Waterbury United banner one time. The infrastructure, like I said, the infrastructure is there.
Yeah, changing the name is definitely going to be a hot topic, and I think anytime 2 organizations merge, it is something new. So rewarding it with a different name I think it's appropriate. But it's definitely going to be a hot topic for sure.
Right, but I mean, just as a person that knows the history in Waterbury, the Knights are the founding team by 20 years or so, I believe. I mean, it's
talking about, because then let me leave it alone.
Oh, I mean, I'm just talking. I'm talking. Nobody mentioned anything. But I'm saying it's something significant. Like there's a lot. Waterbury was the first team. Which one was the Vikings? One of you guys were originally the Vikings, or Waterbury used to have an in-house league way back when, I believe, or something. There's some other history to Waterbury before the 2 travel teams came. There was an in-house league there or something.
Yeah, you might.
LJ, is there a
historian
plan for y'all to meet again?
What's that?
Is there a plan for y'all to talk and meet again?
I actually
maybe not as soon, but like you guys plan on meeting again? So
I'll put this out there. I don't negotiate on behalf of the Waterbury Patriots in a vacuum, right? I just put that out there. So I think getting the decision makers in a room together to talk it through is the next logical step for us.
Okay. Got you.
I mean, if people are really serious about it, and you know, to me, it's bigger than just, all right, now we can compete wherever we're at. Now we're geared up to compete. Like you live in Hartford, or you're from Hartford, you know, Waterbury is a distressed city. So even though we have enough kids to have multiple teams, multiple programs, we don't necessarily have the resources in town to support them.
And that's where I was saying earlier when I was talking to Trev, when I was like, yo, the 2 teams in one city thing from the outside looking in always look good when you just look at our populations. But when you're in the midst of the shuffle in our cities, in my opinion, it makes more sense to have 1 team. because when you can wrap in all the resources, I just think about the opportunities we can provide our youth in the city of Hartford. Football is not, with the numbers, is not like it used to be 8 football teams in the city of Hartford league. We can't field 8 football teams right now, right? And like, I think the Wildcats have 5 teams and we have 7. 13 teams is not that many when you're talking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You're talking about 8 teams. So really, you're talking about 8 teams and maybe a couple teams with 2 at every level. Not even 2 at every level all the way up, if you're talking about merging just what we had. And so I think that I agree that the resources part, drawing that in, is the biggest. That would be the biggest pro. And I know that for us, that we could have the city, look, this is what we need. Why? Because we have this many youth. We got the whole community behind us. And I just dream about the day that Waterbury pull up to the big house, or we pull up to Municipal Stadium, and the whole city of Hartford is there, and the whole city of Waterbury is on the other side. And what that atmosphere is like, high school won't be able to compare, because think we're playing all day. They got 2 hours. We're all day. So you're talking about the whole city of Hartford pulling up.
Right.
Packed.
Right.
Saturday and Sunday. I don't know. Like, to me, that's the dopest idea, I could think of. It was a Vikings team, Tito, they said.
Yeah, no.
Hey, LJ, is one of those teams like specifically the feeder program?
What's that?
Is there a specific Waterbury team that is like a true feeder program to a high school?
I like that, Rich.
No, we don't. We're not a true feeder at this point. Like previous administration, obviously everybody knows Terry. Terry did a real good job, always kind of ingratiating himself with the high school coaches. But we just have too many high schools to be a true feeder system to any one high school.
Yeah, same thing in Hartford. Like, I don't want to get into politics, but y'all know what happened in the city communities and how they basically dismantled our structure from back in the day, right? And so now I think Hartford got like 12, 13 high schools. The talent is blown up. You're hard pressed to get a good city high school football team with what they did in our cities. And now that conversation is for another day, right? But it's like there could be Hartford's more of a feeder program for Windsor and Bloomfield than it is for any Hartford school. And that they're not even in the city.
Well, because in those cities, in Hartford, I know that was killed with the Chef versus the choice program kills Hartford, where kids can go anywhere. The kids could go anywhere. There's kids on the team I'm helping right now. They go to Berlin High, which I always knew was part of Hartford's choice. If Hartford people listening, you have the options to send your kids to Berlin and go to the Berlin school system, just like with Cromwell, just like with Bloomfield. I mean, these kids could choose what they want to do.
Hartford, I'm not advocating that, so don't start calling me saying Phil.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying people.
No, because they get on me about that all the
they
time.
Have that option. I mean, just to build on that, not even build on the conversation. The bottom line is, when they did all of that was to keep us down, and they did a good job of robbing our communities of good sports for us not to get behind them, and that was by design. I believe that shit. That was by design. That wasn't by mistake. You know what I'm saying? That was not by mistake. And we further it worse down here with all the shit we do to each other.
All right. With that being said, Trev, thank you for coming on the show. I think hit me up if you want those contacts. Maybe that can keep going. LJ, we're gonna check back with you first week in January.
That's fair.
That's fair?
That's fair, yep.
In January, we'll bring you back on, because that's when, let's be honest, if there's going to be some getting together, it has to start around that time to put things together by August. I know we think of January as way up in this off season. It's really not that long before you purchasing equipment in the off season. Registration starts in February, March. At least for me, it's downhill. So we'll check back in with you in January just to see where y'all at with it. And again, I'm hoping that you guys can provide a blueprint, because I do think it only takes one person to do it, and everybody may be forced to do it. Yeah. Because let's be honest, it's not about winning or losing, but don't nobody like losing. I don't like losing. So if all of Waterbury get together and all the talents on one, like
What am and I show up at Municipal Stadium and get wiped off the map? Oh no, we gotta have a conversation, bro. Like you see what they did over here? We gotta form like Voltron or we can't win. And so it's gonna force everybody else to start saying those brothers did something that and I think it's the same thing with Trev, right? The question is, how do we come together? I think that's the question everybody's asking. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think you gave him a good starting point. Let's not act like you didn't. I believe you gave him a fair starting point. I think it starts with those 4 people right there.
And
the initial conversation starts there. Bottom line, that's where the fuse or whatever you want to call it is going to start the fire.
And the trust aspect, people need to see their leaders advocate for certain things. Like, I think that softens the blow. You know, I know if I move a certain direction, I know who I can take with me. I know whose ears I have. You know whose ears you have. You know what I'm saying? So I think people just gotta relax, trust the process, and understand that building something great is never,
it's not easy.
Not easy.
It's never gonna be easy.
But listen, a million men didn't walk on the Capitol, just off a whim. There was conversations that happened before that.
Right. On the flip side of the conversation, I mean, the positive, it can't get much worse than where we're at. So whatever. Huh?
We'll see.
If it gets much worse than this, then we're in real trouble.
We'll say that.
If it gets much worse than this, then we're in real trouble. So I mean, I just think that we really can't go no more compared to what. Hold on, Phil. Let's think about this. From when we came into this to where we're at, it can't. This is pretty much, I believe, the hardest it's been. I'm not gonna say the.
No, we can use the word worse. It's the worst that it's been since
we've been involved. Me and you both came
in. It was no LJ get mad at Trev and start his own program with one team.
When we got in, yeah.
And get taken by a league. And that's why you gotta have that consensus nucleus, right? So when LJ gets mad and want to leave this conglomerate, he has nowhere to go. He's gonna go apply to Northern. They're gonna go hell to the no. Shoreline gonna go hell to the no, right? And like the CTYFL gonna say hell to the no. And by the time you get all the hell to the no's, you're gonna turn around and the conglomerate gonna be cute again. And you're gonna come right back and go, all right, can we sit down and resolve this issue? Which is something we could have did in the first place, but it takes time to go around all of that and come back to realize there's nowhere to go. But as soon as you start doing this, and LJ talked to Tito, who talked to Trev, who talked to Phil, we go, yo, let's start our own league. Because we're all mad. Because he has recruited us. And so now the conglomerate fall. And that's why we're in the state we're in. Like we've been talking about why people got one team or two teams. It's because of attitudes. Emotional men not doing what's best for kids and women. But, But anyway, fellas, hey, thanks
Before
a lot.
You jump, Duke just hit me.
If anyone wants the shell, DM him. Leave your email address. He will give you the shell, the blueprint. Maybe y'all could be on the board of the new league. It'll be a beautiful league. Y'all could be on the board.
Hold on, LJ. Go ahead. What Duke saying?
Duke just hit me. So, Tito, you right about the in-house league. And he said, what up?
Yeah, no, what up? That's my man.
He said y'all putting the pressure on him.
No, that's my man, Duke.
Duke.
That's Will Gainey for y'all who don't know that is Duke and his
no
son.
options, Duke. Make it happen.
Let's
do
go.
it for Hartford.
Let's go, Duke.
Grease had a song. Let's do it for our country.
Here's another fun fact.
This
cats want to talk about age and all that. I'm gonna just let people know this. I told Phil and I pointed out to the LJ the other day.
Marquez said breaking news. What is it, Mark? You and Duke inbox you the link.
He's bluffing. Here's a fun fact I'm gonna tell people. Phil's a couple years older than me, but here's the truth. I've known Phil my whole adult life. So to just sit on that one. Just everybody sit on that one. Like just sit on that one. I'm not gonna tell you how far back, but it says I've been an adult. I've known him. I've met him in my adult as I became an adult, and I've known him my whole life as an adult. Yeah. So that's a fun fact for cats.
Amongst the elites in the youth football world at the time. It's crazy. That's how long he been at the top. I wasn't at the top. I was a peon at the time. He was already a president of a program. Oh, he thought Duke was about. Hey, ain't no bombshells. Ain't no bombshells.
No, Duke could attest to another fact.
If Duke got a bombshell to drop, Mark, you already approved it. So
Duke could attest to another fact. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday that was saying, "Oh, you never did the all the theatrics and semantics before a game." As Duke, we played in the state title game 2008. We walked down wherever we walking down the same way we walk down now. Total silence. No hooping and hollering, no woofing, no nothing. I've never been with the bullshit. So people that think there was a time in my life never. In 23 years, whatever team I'm the head coach of and represent, it's total silence down the hill. So
I know the Hurricanes been with the BS all the years I've been involved. Now, I will say I'm particularly not like a hype coach. Like I feel awkward doing it because it's not in me.
I don't do it.
But if I got a coach to do it, I let them live. You know what I'm saying? I think football is an emotional sport.
Oh, absolutely.
And I do truly believe that if you can convince kids, and LJ will figure it out, Trev and Tito, how to run through this brick wall. For LJ, it may be music and getting masks. For Tito, it may be giving them candy. For Trev, he may have to promise them a pizza party afterwards if they get 9 sacks. But whatever works, if you got to get through the game, you do it. I've had my team climb fences with bloody bunny mask. I did get called and got in trouble for it, but I purged. Like, my teams have done it all. I am not going to criticize y'all. I do actually like it. I just don't know. I'm not like cool, so I can't do it. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not like the cool coach to be swaying back and forth and jumping up. Now, I will say this. I went to an Alabama game and I saw Nick Saban bring his team out. And more than ever, I said, Phil, you could do this. I saw Nick Saban do it with the in-house 50-yard line, 2 rows up. St. Nick came out with the BS. That's all. And y'all want to know a song he came out to? I'm gonna leave y'all with this. This guy's honest truth. I'm in Alabama. Alabama, y'all. Follow me. Phil's in Alabama, up north, dude. DMX come on and he says, "What these just want from a guh." And he said the words. I said, "Oh, they just said the N-word in Alabama. It's going down." The whole stadium said, "What these want from a guh." I said, "Oh, snap. St. Nick is the GOAT." He came out to that, jumping up and down in front of the whole Alabama team before they play Utah State. That's when I knew it could be done by anybody. And so now I am going to next year have a pump up rally. I'm gonna pump my team up, and Tito gonna plaster me all over the podcast to say that I.
You was doing it tonight. You was doing it tonight in practice. I was watching you over there doing with the shits over there in practice. I see you tonight over there doing it.
Oh, you can't be saying stuff like this with LJ. What the hell is wrong with you, bro? Like, I see this man. He's you. Oh,
how you say what you?
He's leaking secrets, Hartford. No, sir. No, listen. I'm at 9 years old, dude. I'm still trying to learn how to do this stuff. I've been at 14 for 20 years. I'm down at 9. You kids are crying when I talk. I'm like, wait, did I do something wrong? I don't know what Trev's doing at 8U, but good luck to you, Trev. Hopefully, at the end of the year, you come back at 9. Who knows? I'm going back up. I got to go back up somewhere. I don't know I can stay down there.
No, I actually like it. Yeah.
Huh?
I actually like it.
I like my staff.
Do you really?
I like
You want to tell you? I'm gonna tell you why I like it. The kids show up. They say yes, coach. They don't miss practice.
Your kids say yes, coach.
They say yes, coach. They don't miss practice, and they're like sponges. They can learn a lot, and I have a good time with them. They definitely got better. It made me a better coach because, like you said, I was talking about making teams better and making players better. That age group will challenge you to be patient.
That is true.
And you got to start with the X's and O's. Like, you can't assume.
You
can't assume they know what a fumble is. Like, you gotta
stacking an 8 or 9U team. I'll tell you that. Like, if you stacking teams 11, 12, 13, at 8 or 9U, bro, it ain't stacking. Like, if you get one good running back, you lucky. But you ain't calling Bloomfield, yo, let me get.
No, I would say this.
6. Like, it's hard to stack at 8.
And I've told LJ this a couple times this year. I think you got to coach the little kids more for some reason. Like, I feel like there's a lot more energy. Being that I haven't coached 10 in forever, like since my last, like I've done it a couple times in my life, and I don't mind it, but it takes a lot of time to do one thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's only so much you can do, and there's only so much time in a day, and you got to figure out what it's just very different than when
the hardest thing for me is not getting through practice plans. Like, I'm used to going to 13U, having my practice plan and getting through it. And I'll have a practice plan and I'll be locked in and I'll show up early and I'll have the box over there that Tito hate. I'm playing music in practice. He decides it.
I'll be ready to shoot the goddamn box from across the field. Like, somebody
hate it.
Somebody turn that shit off.
Right. I have it. It doesn't matter to these 9-year-olds. My practice plan means nothing to them.
Means nothing. Because he had the music playing yesterday. Half the team, I told him when he turned around.
Yeah.
And synchronization was doing the dance. Hips and all. I'm like, yo, look at these little cats in perfect synchronization. While he turns his back.
I had to turn it off. Turn off. Everybody start. I just want to I'm like, stop. What? Get great. And they all like, nobody's listening to me. Turned it off. Then I got back control of my practice. I can't even play music. I love it though. I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world, fellas. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you, brothers. LJ, we checking back in with you. Matter of fact, Trev, we gonna check back in with you. You let us know when you contact.
No, we'll give them the January too. Give them everybody leave the Florida the first week of December, second week. Well, did a 4. I'm out there the 4th, so
second week.
Back after the holidays.
Trev,
when LJ checks in, Trev checks in. When LJ check in, Trev check in.
It'll be interesting. You know, we'll see what happens. But I appreciate you guys giving us your time. Listen, a lot of people watch and stay the whole time because of y'all, not because of me and Tito. I think that means people do respect what you guys have to say. And it sounds like everybody is for what both of you guys are trying to do. And ultimately is bringing the culture together. So I don't think it's anybody that's against it. I think everybody's for it.
No, I hope everybody has a great playoff and championship weekend.
Yes, good luck to everybody except LJ.
Health.
And want everybody to be successful on the call.
Yeah.
But you need to tell them.
Trev don't play Hartford.
Central's playoffs and championships.
Oh no, Trev don't play Hartford.
Hold on. Central's playoffs and championships. You ain't even announced the facility we got for the weekend.
Oh, listen, this Saturday, y'all, come out. We got Trinity College. We got the bathrooms, the scoreboard, the refs is operating the scoreboard. Trinity College, we are giving these kids an opportunity to play at a college, a beautiful college, by the way.
Small Ivy.
At Trinity College, we starting at 9 a.m. Games are going all the way to 7:30 at night. Entry fee is $10. If y'all know Hartford, we got the big green truck. That's what we call it. Right? We got the big green truck for concessions. It's going to be popping. It's going to be going down all day. It's at Trinity College. We start at 9 a.m. We got playoff games. We got championship games. We got 12U games. We got 8U and 6U and 10U games. And, come out. And then on Sunday, we got another 6 games going down at Manchester High School, right? And we got our 13U, probably the biggest game in the state in New England happening this weekend. Is the Bloomfield 13U versus the Hartford Hurricanes 13U. That's going to be a dynamite game. 2 powerhouses. Coach Rari has been doing amazing things all year, but you have the Hurricanes that has the tradition, and they're the defending regional champs, so they're not going out that easy. So you got good football going down. Central Connecticut Pop Warner. Just for the record, Trev did say join us, so I want to put that out there before we leave.
Don't forget Waterbury Knights 12U versus Springfield.
That is a big game. That's a big game.
That's a nice plug right there.
That's a good plug. Already, I see the camaraderie.
That was a good plug, though.
I did. We don't have time. We don't have time, but I want to say this. That thing over there is spicy. That Springfield 12U and Waterbury 12U. It's 11 o'clock. We gotta go. Online, dude. We gotta get into it. It'll be over by the time we get into it. But, bruh, the stuff I've been seeing.
Hey, I love my Springfield brothers, but the general standing with my man Duke, Will Gainey, they're gonna have an upset, and that's what it is. That's the general's prediction.
Boom!
My man Duke.
Duke will upset Springfield.
Duke about to shock the world on Sunday. Big Duke, Will Gainey, and Little Duke. And the rest of the bunch is going to shock the world on Sunday.
Shock the world.
Going to shock the world on Sunday. That's my one prediction. I'm
Anybody
standing with Duke.
Prediction out there? You standing with that prediction, LJ?
I'm with it.
All right.
I'm with it.
Trev, a prediction on the weekend.
Yeah, I think the hometown Bloomfield, we're gonna seal the deal. I think 13U gonna bring it home in a very fashionable way. Not within the last 6 seconds. I think we're gonna get it
Y'all
done.
gonna have to score more than 6 points, Trev.
Nah,
This
yeah. I
time-
mean, hey,
this
listen,
time around.
respect the Hartford, man. They're not ducking no smoke. They're not gonna back down. It's a tough team. They ran the gauntlet just like we ran the gauntlet. It ain't gonna be an easy out. I think we get it done though. The whole time.
I have the same prediction, and I predict the Hurricanes will beat Bloomfield by more than 2 touchdowns because we've been here before. The coaches have been here before, and those kids played in Florida. They know what they're looking for. So I'm predicting the opposite. But either way, it's going to be good football.
Yeah.
You love to see it. And listen, if me and Trev on the opposite sides, we're going to be staying on the side. So you might want to come out and watch the game. It's going to be good. That game is at 1:30. Manchester High School, fellas. Appreciate y'all. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for coming on, brothers.
Nah, thanks for having us. Appreciate
Yep, anytime. Yo, Tito, that's the show. That's been a great show. We got to wind it down. People are going to sleep. Let me just say, Tito, that everybody, it's election time. You are all going out to vote for who you want to vote for. I can care less. Let me just say this to you. Please educate yourself. Because the truth of the matter is, and I heard this today, so I'm going to share it because I thought it was interesting. When we get raises, Tito, we go, Tito did good. Tito did well. Tito bust his butt, and he got a new raise, and he got money. We take accountability, and we take self-credit. When we don't get a raise or we can't afford bread, we blame presidents. I always found that funny. Why we don't hold the same accountability when we're not making as much money versus when we get our raise. But that's just my question. It doesn't matter. It's your boy PH the Prez, Mr. Above 140. Educate yourself before you vote. And Ray Porter said, vote for Kamala. Ray, she got my vote. Anyway, peace, love, and hair grease.
Peace.
Easy.